that in space. Your right index finger, your middle finger, fourth finger, the little finger, and in the palm of your hand. Now you may or may not feel some sensations, and these can range from just really feeling the air above the palm, or there might be a little bit of tingling, tiny pins and needles, maybe. Or there might be a sense of energy. It might feel a little bit like a bit of a weight, as if you're holding something in the palm of your hand. Or there might be nothing, and none of that is right or wrong. It's just observing. Now then, moving on to your left side, your left shoulder. Just dropping that away from the ear. Your left elbow, your left wrist, your left thumb. Remember, try not to move your fingers. Your index finger on the left, your middle finger, just feel where it is, sense it. The fourth finger, the little finger, and then the palm of the hand, just like you did on the other side, just noticing any sensations at all. Bring your attention to both of your palms now. And I'm going to go, keep the sensation in your hands if you can, just in your subconscious. We're going to go to the bottom of your skull now. And we're going to continue tracing over the back of your head, all the way up over your scalp to the crown of your head. And I want you to imagine that there's a little hook on the crown of your head with a string attached to that. And someone just gently tugging on the string, which you find lengthens your neck a little bit. But then I'm going to pull the string until a little plug comes out of the crown of your head. So that creates a well in the crown of your head. So just get an idea of the sense of the crown of the head, just on top of your head, where that area is. And just as though someone's pulled a plug out from there. Now we're going to fill that hole with a golden color. So I want you to bring into your mind's eye the color of gold, or sunlight, or white light. And imagine that that's in liquid form. I'm going to slowly pour that into the crown of your head so that it fills the skull, travels down your neck, across the shoulders, down the arms, into the chest cavity, all the way down your legs, and all the way out through your feet. And I want you to inhale nice and deep. Feel yourself filling up. And with every out-breath, I want you to imagine that gold liquid coming to the crown of your head and just wash it through like a river, all the way through your body and out through your feet. Every in-breath, just build yourself up again. And then it starts again, pouring that liquid in. Just like a running river through your body. As you're doing this, I want you to try and consciously relax the jaw on your face. Just try and relax that jaw. Maybe your tongue is sitting in the lower palate. Letting all of this golden light just flow all the way through you, through your feet. Every inhale just makes you rise again. And it continues. Golden light traveling through your body. And as that light travels through your body, you know that it is softening everything. It's flushing away toxins. And just feeding your body with nutrients. Everything that you need to heal and feel light. Just taking a couple more rinses like this. So filling yourself up at the inhale. And the out breath, just letting that all flow through you. And with that lightness of being, we're just going to take a little wander in the park. I'm going to take you there. So you're standing at the park entrance and there's a metal gate that you have to open. So you put your hand on the metal gate. And as you open the gate, it just makes a little squeaky sound. And then you walk up a little gravel path and you can hear the sound of the pebbles, the gravel underneath your feet with every step you take. And then you start to notice things with your eyes. There's a little white, cabbage white butterfly just flies past you and lands on a bright yellow flower with a long green stalk and big green leaves. You notice that in the flower, it's not just the butterfly that's flying by, but there's also a bee doing its work on the pollen inside the yellow flower. And you notice the bee, you notice the black and the yellow stripes. And it's really fragile wings, which surprise you when you look at them closer and you realize that they support his little fat body as he flies around. You also hear the buzz that he's making as you move closer. You take in that sound. And then you notice next to the yellow flower is a lavender bush. And you can smell the faint perfume. You want more of that. So you take your index finger and thumb and gently rub on one of the lavender flowers. And then you put your index finger and your thumb up to your nose so you can smell it even more so. So you're smelling that lavender. As you're doing that, an old lady walks by and you notice her hat because it's bright yellow and it's got some real flowers that she's picked and she's stuck inside little woolly holes in her hat. She's got grey hair, but big blue-rimmed glasses, a bright red shirt and a flowery skirt. and a little dog on a lead, a long Diamante lead. This lady is interesting, and you really take her in. And then you notice her shoes, which are also multicolored with a big gold buckle on the front, and a little purple handbag off her other hand. As you're looking at her intently, she looks back at you and gives you a really big beaming smile, and your eyes connect. And as you look at her, you notice that she has many stories behind those eyes. You can really see into her soul with those eyes. Nothing needs to be said between you. It's just a knowingness and an observation. Then you pass each other by after that smile. And that stays with you. It makes you feel good. You can feel that joy in your heart. And you walk up a little bit further, and you notice there's a big green grassy park. So you decide to take your shoes off and let your bare feet feel the grass. And it feels nice and cool and smooth and soft. The grass is reasonably long, hasn't been cut for a while. It feels really good. And every now and then you'll walk past a little clump of daisies growing wild that you notice. Then you start to listen to sounds, and you can hear some kids playing football a little bit further away. And you can see ahead of you lots of kids moving around, kicking a ball around. But you want it to be quiet, so you decide to move away from that, but you take in the joy that they're having playing that game. And you spot a rose garden, so you start walking towards that. And there's so many different colored rose trees. There's orange, there's bright pink, there's a soft pink, there's red, and there are yellow. And you decide to sniff all of them. So you go from one yellow rose tree, smelling that, to the light pink rose tree. These roses are slightly smaller than the other ones, you notice. To the red roses, to the dark pink, and to the orange. Taking in that beautiful scent of roses. And then you can see there's some woods just behind the roses, so you walk towards the woods. And there's some muddy paths ahead, so you decide to put your shoes back on. Even though you're relishing in that freedom of having nothing on your feet, it felt so good. But now you can put your shoes back on. Then you walk along the little muddy paths through the woods. And the first thing you notice is how gnarly these trunks are and how big the roots of the tree are. You decide to walk around one of these trees, and it takes you a few seconds because the trunk is so big, and you wonder how far those roots spread. How far do they go? You put your hand on the bark and notice how coarse the bark is. And a little bit comes off in your hand. And you turn that piece of bark over and you notice that the inside of it is really smooth and the color of wood. And you look onto the tree and see where it's come from. And you put your fingers on that too, and it feels really nice and smooth. A little bit cooler to the touch. And you follow the tree up its trunk and you look all the way up. And you can see there's a squirrel in one of the higher branches. It's got his little paws holding into itself, waiting for food, thinking maybe you might have some. Then you look all the way up the tree and you notice that the leaves change color the higher you look up. You get lighter green towards the sun. And it makes you feel a little bit lightheaded looking up so high. This tree is so big. It's been here for hundreds of years. So you trace it all the way back down again. And then you notice there's a conker on the floor. It's out of its shell. It's smooth and brown to the touch. And there's many conker shells around. You pick one of the shells up. It feels really prickly. The bright green shell and the white inside of the shell that produces this beautiful polished conker. So you decide to walk along a little bit more. See what else you can see. The leaves are starting to fall from the trees, turning to orange, brown, speckled. You kick some of the leaves with your foot. You can hear that little sound of rustling as you do that. Then a peacock walks past, and you notice that it doesn't have its long feathers anymore. Then you realize that its mating season is over. And all those beautiful long feathers have gone, keeping him a little bit light and energy efficient for the winter. But he's still proud walking past with his very bright blue head and long neck. You watch him strut past you. And then you see the little pigeons that are so often ignored because they're everywhere. And they have their little story as well. You decide to sit down on a park bench, which is close by. And as you sit down, you put your hands on the wood and feel the wood of where you're sitting. And then you really tuned into the bird song and realize that the birds are all talking to each other. They all have their own language, communicating. And you realize that life is just happening all the time around you, and there is so much beauty just by looking and smelling and hearing and feeling. And as you sit back on this bench, you remember the golden light that was flowing through your body. And you go back to how that felt, but this time, this golden fluid is not coming back out through your feet. It's now going to stay in your body and replenish all the cells. So you remove the plug out of the crown of your head again. You take a nice inhale. And as you breathe out, you get the sense of that golden liquid again coming into the crown of your head, filling up your entirety, but not leaving the body this time. So it's taking the whole of your form, softening all your limbs, and every little cell in your body is turning into a little smiley face. Healthy cells being replenished by this good feeling, this light. And now every in-breath that you take is expanding that light in your body. And every exhale, you're just softening into it even more. You inhale again. Light expanding again, and then soften into the body. And with this expansion on every in-breath, you feel the sense of awe, of life, filling up your body with every inhale, holding on to that and owning it, letting it be in your body, in your mind, choosing that sense of awe with every breath. Bringing joy into every cell of your body. Feeling it expand so much in your own body that it starts to radiate around your space. Just breathing this for a couple of minutes, just in and out. Every time your mind wanders, just bring yourself back to the feeling, sitting on that park bench, embracing all that you've seen, and then bringing yourself back to that golden light that is inside you, radiating out of you. I want you to stay with this as long as you want. I'm going to leave you here because if you're in a good space, I want you to hold it for as long as it's comfortable for you and not finish just because I'm ending the meeting. It's really good for you to find your place, for you to find your practice, for you to decide when you've come to the end. So if you're in a good space now, and following that same feeling, then hold on to it for as long as you can. Just make sure that when you do finish meditating, you come out of it really gently and don't rush back into the world. I will see you next week.